हेलो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, इन अ सीरीज ऑफ शॉर्ट वीडियोस हम देखने वाले हैं कि डेरिवेटिव से क्या टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जा सकते हैं। डेरिवेटिव्स नए सिलेबस का चैप्टर है, तो बस एक अटेम्प्ट में पूछा गया है, विच इज द जून 23 अटेम्प्ट। उसमें दे हैव आस्क्ड 3 काइंड्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस। क्वेश्चन टाइप नंबर 1, जहां पे आपको एक फंक्शन डिराइव करने दिया जाता है। Question type number 2, that plays around with functions. And question number 3, that plays around with maxima and minima. Now, ये तीनों चीजें मैंने आपको जो वीडियो लेक्चर्स दिए हैं इसके पहले, उसमें कवर हो जाती है। आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू शो यू कि आपके इंस्टीट्यूट क्या एक्सपेक्ट किया करता है। एंड what I'm going to do is I'm going to take questions from your institute material and try and explain to you how these 3 kinds of questions can be asked, and then eventually last attempt में क्या पूछा गया था। To begin with, the first kind of a question, which is basic derivative. अब basic derivative जब पूछा जाता है तो basic derivative या जब आपको function derive करने पूछेंगे, they will ask it to you in different ways. They might say derive the given function. They might say differentiate the given function. They might also say find the differential coefficient of the given function. All this, they might say find the slope of the given function. They might say find the gradient of the given function. In सब का मतलब एक ही है, they want you to derive a certain function. Now to derive a function, आपके basics जगह पे होने चाहिए। For example, अगर function constant है तो derivative 0 है, अगर function x है तो derivative 1 है, अगर फंक्शन x raised to n है तो डेरिवेटिव nx raised to n minus 1 है, अगर फंक्शन e raised to x है तो डेरिवेटिव e raised to x है, अगर फंक्शन a raised to x है तो डेरिवेटिव a raised to x log a है, अगर फंक्शन log of x है तो डेरिवेटिव 1 upon x है, अगर फंक्शन root x है तो डेरिवेटिव 1 by 2 root x है, और अगर फंक्शन 1 by x है तो डेरिवेटिव -1 upon x square है। These basic formulas of functions must be in place. अगर ये जगह पे नहीं है, derivatives नहीं होगा। Now, if they ask you to derive a function, they might ask you 4 types of functions. The first, the most basic kind of a function, and that is question number 6 in your institute material. आपको दिया गया है एक फंक्शन y which is 4 raised to x, and they are saying derive y or find the derivative of y. So in my first step, I will say differentiating y with respect to x. The derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of 4 raised to x. In the next step, the derivative of y with respect to x is derivative of 4 raised to x is of the type a raised to x. Derivative of a raised to x is a raised to x log a. That's it. This is going to be my answer. Let's see if that is in the option. No, no, no. So none of these? No. They've kind of simplified your option. 4 raised to x log 4 को उन्होंने 2 log 2 लिखा है। ऐसे। In the next step, I will say that dy by dx is 4 log of 2 square. dy by dx is 4 raised to x. Log of a raised to b is b log a. And that's your answer. 4 raised to x 2 log 2. This is it. 4 raised to x 2 log 2. The next question is a simple linear function. और उसे लिखा कैसे गया है देखो. f of x is, the function is written as f of x, और ये नहीं बोल रहा है कि फंक्शन को डिराइव करो. They have said that f dash x निकालो. Well, it all means the same. y को डिराइव किया तो dy by dx. y को डिराइव किया तो y dash. y को डिराइव किया तो in some places you will also see y1. y1 means y has been derived once. वैसे ही अगर f of x को डिराइव किया तो v से कि वो f dash x बन जाता है. So step 1, let me write down the function. f of x is given by x raised to 5 by 5, x raised to 4 by 4, x cubed by 2 minus 7x square plus 18. In the first step, I am going to say I am differentiating f of x with respect to x. The derivative with respect to x of f of x is the derivative with respect to x of x raised to 5 by 5, x raised to 4 by 4, x cubed by 2 minus 7x square plus 18. Derivative of f of x becomes f dash x. Derivative splits over positive and negative sign. Derivative with respect to x of x raised to 5 by 5. Derivative with respect to x of x raised to 4 by 4. Derivative with respect to x of x cubed by 2 minus derivative with respect to x of 7x square plus derivative with respect to x of 18. जहां जहां कोएफिशिएंट्स हैं वो डेरिवेटिव के बाहर निकलेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल 1/5 derivative of x raised to 5, 1/4 derivative of x raised to 4, 1/2 derivative of x cube, and 7 derivative of x square. Lastly, derivative of 18. Let's start deriving. F dash x is 1/5. Derivative of x raised to 5 is nx raised to n minus 1. 1/4. 4x raised to 4 minus 1. 1/2. 3x square minus 7. Derivative of x square is 2x. Derivative of 18 is 0. Why? Because 18 is a constant. X raised to 5, x raised 5 cancels, 4 cancels. What do you get? X raised to 4 plus x cube plus 3 by 2x square minus 14x is going to be the answer. So out of the options, my answer is going to be no, 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 yes. The answer is going to be B. The next kind of a question that they might ask is product rule. So basic function that they will ask you to derive. And after a basic function, they might ask you to derive a function using product rule. Now, there is no product rule question per se in your institute material. And that is why what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own product rule question. So what if there is a function given to you, which is y, which is some function u into some function v? Well, then product rule says that by differentiating this function with respect to x, the derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of u into v. So the derivative of y with respect to x is u, which is the first function, into the derivative of v, which is the second function, plus v, which is the second function, into the derivative of u, which is the first function. Let's take a random example of this. What if your function y is x cubed e raised to x? Well, these are two functions that are multiplying. Then we will say that differentiating with respect to x, the derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of x cubed into e raised to x. The derivative of y with respect to x is first into the derivative of second plus second into the derivative of first. So dy by dx is x cubed. Derivative of e raised to x is e raised to x. E raised to x. Derivative of x cube is 3x square. Now there is scope of simplification, but honestly, simplify करना है नहीं करना है वो ऑप्शंस पे डिपेंड करे. अब ये हो सकता है कि देखो इन दोनों में e raised to x कॉमन है और इन दोनों में x स्क्वायर कॉमन है. तो अगर मैं e raised to x x स्क्वायर बाहर निकालूं, अंदर बचता है 1x और 3. And this is going to be the answer. Similarly, what they might also ask is a simple quotient rule question. Now, what is a quotient rule question? Well, u upon v. If my function is some numerator upon some denominator, and if you ask me to derive it, I'd say differentiating with respect to x, the derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of u upon v. Then the derivative of y with respect to x is the denominator. Always and always start with the denominator. What is the denominator? V. So v into the derivative of u minus numerator, which is u, into the derivative of v, the whole divided by your denominator, which is v square. There is a question in your institute material where they've asked you to derive using the quotient rule, and that is question number 7. What does the question say? It says that if the function y is equal to e raised to x upon e raised to x plus 1, we will say that this is u upon v. Differentiating with respect to x, we get the derivative with respect to x of y is denominator into the derivative of numerator minus numerator into the derivative of denominator, the whole divided by the denominator square. In the next step, we will say that dy by dx is e raised to x plus 1. Derivative of e raised to x is e raised to x. E raised to x into derivative of e raised to x is e raised to x. Derivative of 1 is 0. The whole divided by e raised to x plus 1, the whole square. dy by dx is, अब दोनों में एक e raised to x कॉमन है तो निकाल लो बाहर. अंदर क्या बचता है? e raised to x plus 1 minus e raised to x, the whole divided by e raised to x plus 1, the whole square. In the next step, dy by dx is e raised to x into e raised to x plus 1 minus e raised to x, the whole divided by e raised to x plus 1, the whole square. E raised to x cancels. Dy by dx is e raised to x into 1 upon e raised to x plus 1, the whole square. So my answer to this is dy by dx is e raised to x upon e raised to x plus 1, the whole square. Is that an option? Yes. The option is A. So the answer is going to be A. This is going to be quotient rule. The next and the last kind of a question in derivatives is chain rule. In chain rule, if the function y is equal to log of 3x square plus 13x plus 10, then I will say differentiating with respect to x, the derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of log of 3x square plus 13x plus 10. In the next step, dy by dx is derivative of log x is 1 upon x. But my x is not x. So into the derivative of whatever I assumed as x. So the value of dy by dx is 1 upon 3x square plus 13x plus 10 into derivative of 3x square is 3 2s are 6x plus 13. So dy by dx is 6x plus 13 divided by 3x square plus 13x plus 10. That is going to be the answer. So that is going to be, I think I have not copied the option. So the answer is going to be C. Now, what are the kind of questions that they had asked in the exam? In a basic derivative function, in the previous attempt, they asked a product rule question. A very simple product rule question that what if y is x log x, and then differentiating with respect to x, the derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of x log x. The derivative of y with respect to x is first into the derivative of second plus second into the derivative of first, which is x. Derivative of log x is 1 by x. Log x, derivative of x is 1. X and x cancels. So we get 1 plus log of x as the answer. The next kind of question that they might ask you is a function-based question. Jahan pe they might ask you to create different functions. Now, in costing or in commerce, the different kinds of functions that you will see is a total cost function. And a total cost function is written as capital C. Some places you might say a TC, but mostly it is written as C. The next is a revenue function or a total revenue function. written as capital R. The next you will see is a profit function. Profit is nothing else but the revenue minus the cost. And this function is represented by the Greek letter pi. Other functions that you might see is the average cost function written as AC. You will see a fixed cost function which is written as FC, a variable cost function which is written as VC, and marginal of any function. So marginal of cost will be written as MC, marginal of profit will be written as MP, marginal of revenue will be written as MR. Now you need to understand ये सब functions आते कहाँ से. To do that, I'm going to take one example again from your institute material. उसमें पूछा कुछ अलग गया है, but I'm going to find all this for you in that one function. So pay attention. A manufacturer has a monthly fixed cost of 1 lakh rupees. So आपकी fixed cost is 1 lakh rupees and a production cost of rupees 50 per unit. Then can I say a variable cost of rupees 50 per unit. The product is sold at rupees 575. So sales price is rupees 75. Find the cost function and the number of products to be sold by the manufacturer to break even. मैं क्या करने वाला हूं इसी क्वेश्चन में आई एम गोइंग टू फाइंड मल्टीपल थिंग्स. नंबर 1, कॉस्ट फंक्शन. व्हाट इज कॉस्ट फंक्शन? Cost function is a fixed cost plus the variable cost into the number of units that you're making. So your cost function is 1 lakh plus 50 into the number of units that you are making. Number 2, what is your revenue function? Revenue is whatever the sales price is into the number of units that you will sell. Your sales price or price is also represented as P. So revenue is 75 rupees per unit into X units. Now one thing at a time. अगर मैं आपको दे देता कि आपका cost function है, what is your cost function? 1 lakh plus 50x. तो understand that ये मैंने अभी आपको निकालने बोला. बट अगर मैं कॉस्ट फंक्शन लिख के दे देता दैट इट इज 1 लाख प्लस 50x, तो ये कॉस्ट फंक्शन में 2 पार्ट होते हैं, एक फिक्स्ड और एक वेरिएबल. कैसे पता चलेगा? जिसमें x नहीं है वो फिक्स्ड और जो x के साथ है वो वेरिएबल. Now the next thing that I can ask you is the profit function. The profit function is revenue minus the cost. How will I get the profit function? Well, profit function is revenue minus the cost, which is 1 lakh plus 50x. So the profit function is 75 minus 1 lakh minus 50x. The profit function, 75x is 75 minus 50, 25x minus 1 lakh. They might also ask you marginal of every function. तो बस इतना याद रखना. Marginal of any function is the derivative of the function. So if I ask you marginal profit It is the derivative of the profit, which is derivative of 25x minus 1 lakh. So the marginal profit is 25. Why? Derivative of 25x is 25. 1 lakh is 0. What if I ask you the marginal cost? Well, then in that case, it is the derivative of the total cost, which is the derivative of 1 lakh plus x. So it is derivative of 1 lakh is 0, 50x is 50. This is the different kinds of functions that they might ask you. They might give you data and ask you to find the cost function, give you data, ask you to find the revenue function, profit function निकालने बोल सकते हैं, marginal of any function, and marginal of any function is the direct derivative of the function. Now in this question, they have asked you to find the break-even point. What is break-even? Break-even is that point where you make neither profit nor loss, which means that your cost is the same as your revenue. My cost function, which is 1 lakh plus 50x, should be the revenue, which is 75x. Take the 50 to the other side. 1 lakh is 25x. Take the 25 to the other side. X is 1 divided by 25, and that is 4,000. At 4,000 units, you will make neither profit nor loss. So your break even is at 4,000. So your answer is find the cost function. The cost function is 50x plus 1 lakh, and the break even point is 4,000. Now in the previous exam, they had asked a very simple question. And that question was, Rx, which is revenue function, दिया आपको in terms of x, and cost function दिया in terms of x. They asked you to find the profit function. Profit is revenue minus cost. So profit is 20x square minus 15x minus 10 minus the cost, which is 5x square minus 3x plus 16, which is 20x square minus 15x minus 10 minus 5x square plus 3x minus 16. Profit is 20x square minus 5x square is 15x square minus 12x minus 26. And that is going to be your profit function. And this is the second kind of a question, functions related. आपको function find करने बोलेंगे. The third and the last kind of a question is checking the maximum and minimum value of a function. Now, whenever they ask you to check the maximum or the minimum value of a function, which is this kind of a question, there are steps involved. What are the steps? Step 1, find the derivative of the function. Find dy by dx. After you find dy by dx, take dy by dx as 0. When you take dy by dx as 0, you will get 1 or 2 values of x. Step 3, find d square y by dx square, which is the second order derivative. Step 4, substitute the values of x from 2 in d square y by dx square. And this is your conclusion. If for that value of x, your second order derivative is less than 0, in other words, negative, then we will say y is maximum at that x. And if your second order derivative is greater than 0, which is positive, we will say y is minimum at that x. These are the steps involved. I will very quickly repeat them. Find the first order derivative. After finding the first order derivative, make it 0. After making it 0, you will get 1 or 2 values of x. Find the second order derivative. Substitute those values of x into the second order derivative. If the value works out to be negative, the function is maximum at that point. Positive, the function is minimum at that point. Very quickly then, let's take a look at one question, and then let's take an example of maxima minima and seal the deal. Step 1, derive the function. What is the function? F of x is x cubed by 3 minus 3 by 2x square plus 2x minus 3, differentiating with respect to x. The derivative with respect to x of f of x is the derivative with respect to x of x cubed by 3 minus 3 by 2x square plus 2x minus 3. In the next step, f dash x, the derivative of f of x, is given to you as 1 by 3 out. Derivative of x cube is 3x square. 3 by 2 out. Derivative of x square is 2x. 2 out. Derivative of x is 1. Derivative of 3 is 0. In the next step, 3 cancels. 2 cancels. What are we left with? We are left with f dash of x is x square minus 3x plus 2. Step 2, take the derivative as 0. So taking f dash x as 0, x square minus 3x plus 2 is 0. दो नंबर जो मल्टीप्लाई करके 2 एंड ऐड करके 3 आता है, r 2 and 1, x square minus 2x minus x plus 2 is 0. X out common, x minus 2 minus 1 out common, x minus 2 is 0. X minus 2, x minus 1 is 0. Either x minus 2 is 0 or x minus 1 is 0. Either x is 2 or x is 1. तो फंक्शन 2 या 1 पे मैक्सिमम या मिनिमम वैल्यू लेता है. कहां पे क्या, वो हमें फिलहाल पता नहीं है. What does that mean? What it means is that या तो ये फंक्शन 2 पे मिनिमम एंड 1 पे मैक्सिमम वैल्यू लेता है, या रिवर्स. This is 1 and this is 2, this is 1 and this is 2. So the function could either be this way or the function could be this way. फंक्शन दोनों में से एक हो सकता है. 1 पे मिनिमम एंड 2 पे मैक्सिमम वैल्यू लेता है, या उल्टा 1 पे मैक्सिमम एंड 2 पे मिनिमम वैल्यू लेता है. Which one is it? ये पता करने के लिए I have to take the second order derivative of the function. So f dash of x is x square minus 3x plus 2. I will say differentiating f dash x with respect to x. Again, derivative with respect to x of f dash x is derivative with respect to x of x square minus 3x plus 2. F double dash x is 2x minus 3. Now we will substitute x is 2 and x is 1 in this. So I will say at x is 2, f double dash of 2 is 2 into 2 minus 1, which is 4 minus 1, which is 3. And since f double dash of 2 is greater than 0, f of x is minimum at x is equal to 2 and at x is equal to 1, f double dash of 1 is 2 into 1 minus 3, which is 2 minus 3, which is minus 1. Since f double dash of 1 is less than 0, f of x is maximum at x equals 1. And this is my declaration. The function takes a minimum value at 2 and maximum at 1. So this is the correct way of looking at that function. It takes this is the correct way of looking at the function. It takes a maximum at 1 and a minimum at 2. This is it. This is maxima, minimum. Now, what was the question that they had asked in the past paper? In the past paper, they asked one question, and that was question number 9. What did the question say? If y is equal to 20x minus 2x square, they're asking you, then the value of x for which y is maximum. X क्या होना चाहिए जिससे y maximum हो? We will use maximum minimum. Step 1, derivative. Differentiating with respect to x. The derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of 20x minus 2x square. The derivative of y with respect to x is 20 bahar. Derivative of x is 1. 2 2s are 4x. I will now say taking dy by dx is 0. 20 minus 4x is 0. 20 is 4x और x is 5. इस क्वेश्चन में एक ही वैल्यू मिला x का, करेक्ट. मतलब ये फंक्शन या तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ मैक्सिमम वैल्यू लेता है या तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ मिनिमम वैल्यू लेता है. मतलब when x takes the value 5, the function either looks this way or the function looks this way. It either reaches a minimum of 5 or it reaches a maximum. These are the two options. अब क्या है वो कैसे पता चलेगा? Find the second order derivative. Differentiating dy by dx with respect to x. The derivative with respect to x of dy by dx is the derivative with respect to x of 20 minus 4x. Derivative of 20, 0. 4 minus 4x is minus 4. This is the second order derivative of y. अब क्या? अब इसमें ये x is 5 डाल दो. पर एक मिनट सर, इसमें x है ही नहीं. ठीक है. Act like you are substituting. At x is 5, d square y by dx square is still minus 4. So d square y by dx square is less than 0. And since it is less than 0, therefore y is maximum at x equals 5. So the function takes a maximum value when x takes the value 5. This is it. This is question 9, which has been asked. So to wrap it up, three kinds of questions asked. One, a basic derivative. Two, a function-based question. And three, maxima, minima. If you ask me what to expect, yes, you can expect these three questions or these three type of questions.